Welcome to Seeking Numina, the Sacred Places podcast. I'm your host, Elyse Welles, and today I am joined by Judika Illes. Judika Illes is a lifelong student, lover, and practitioner of the magical arts. She is the author of numerous books devoted to spells, spirits, and witchcraft, including the best-selling Encyclopedia of 5,000 Spells and Encyclopedia of Spirits, as well as Pure Magic, Daily Magic, Encyclopedia of Witchcraft, Encyclopedia of Mystics, Saints, and Sages. I love that book. Witches, a Compendium, and Magic When You Need It. She was also a contributor to Taschen's Witchcraft, the third volume in the Library of Esoterica series. Judika is the editor and curator of two books of mystical fiction, The Wiser Book of the Fantastic and Forgotten and The Wiser Book of Occult Detectives. And she has been a professional tarot card reader for over 3 decades and is also a certified aromatherapist. A native New Yorker, Judika teaches in the United States and internationally, both live and virtually. You can learn more on Instagram at Judika Illes and on Facebook, facebook.com/author Judika Illes. And you'll find that in the bio for the episode as well. Thank you so much for being here, Judika.
Oh, Liz, thank you for having me.
Welcome to Seeking Numina. I'm your host, Elyse Welles, and I invite you to connect with the sacred wild within and around you through Numina, or sacred sites around the world, and the wisdom they hold. Together, let's remember the old ways, build relationships with land spirits, and dare to reach out to the fairies. The sacred wild is inviting you to dance in the moonlight. Will you answer their call? It is awesome to have you here we're going to talk about more than this lovely deck, but I've really been enjoying getting to know the Magic Spells Oracle.
I'm glad.
It's really great. I love that you have each of the suits being each of the elements, but you also have these balancing cards. So what inspired you to create the Magic Spells Oracle deck? And also, why the balancing cards? Why were those important to put in there as well?
Um, the editors at HarperCollins and my original editor for Encyclopedia of 5,000 Spells, have for years, we've just been like revisiting 5,000 spells and concepts. And, that was, for people who are not familiar with it, I mean, it's my book, it's my baby, but it's also, it's a weird book. That was supposed to be a 450-page book. And that book was like a wild horse that just ran away with me. That book had a mind of its own. The finished book, and I'm an editor, and please, I don't recommend this to any of my authors. I wrote this book in such fear that they were going to cancel it. That book just morphed, it grew. I mean, it's an over 1,000-page book now. It very much had a life of its own, and we go back to it all the time. And really, Magic Spells Oracle was very much inspired by 5,000 Spells. And in talks with my editor, everybody comes to witchcraft from a different place, to spellcasting from a different place. I did not come originally from an elemental background. That was not my primary focus, although it's something that's discussed in that book and in Pure Magic, which is, my how-to book of witchcraft. But the editor was, I don't know, we just had these conversations, and it made me want to write a book about elemental magic, and somehow that became part of Magic Spells Oracle. The balancing cards to some extent come from my astrological chart. My chart is not a balanced chart. I don't have any planets in air signs, but I had a fairy godmother that at the moment of my birth came in, and my rising sign is 0 degrees Aquarius. It's my saving grace, and I always think of that as like my balancing card, because there's no air anyplace else in that chart, and somehow that translated into these balancing cards too, because sometimes the elements can be out of balance, and so that ability to, because spell casting is all about making your life better. It's not about falling prey to, what the elements may have. Well, we can take that balancing card and just balance them.
Yeah. And it's interesting too to even talk about elements as balanced. I've seen some people online, focusing on even myself. I use the term earth priestess a lot. And so sometimes people misconstrue that. Like I thought it was clear. It's a priestess of the planet Earth, which
Mhm.
implies all the elements. But I've had some people message me and say, "Oh, I'm a water priestess. I don't
Right,
think I could work with you, or I would like to work with you, but I work mostly with fire." And my answer to them is always, "But you have to work with
they've watched too
everybody."
much Avatar.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. And I think it evolved. It's funny because the term eclectic witch has been around for a million years, and yet people are still refining it
Right,
today.
right,
And I think it's so empowering for people. Like when I tell them you can just be eclectic, they say, "Oh, good," because I thought I needed a special label. And I think it was the algorithms. I think it was social media that made people choose labels just to help people
right.
find what they were posting. And
Well, I mean,
now
the
it's,
elements don't exist. I mean, they're not mutually exclusive.
yeah.
They're always, they're elements within elements. One element feeds the other elements. I mean, it's fascinating. It wasn't originally my orientation, but the more I worked on it, at this point, I would like to write an entire book. I mean, there is a book that goes with this deck that's inside the deck, inside the package, and it does discuss these things. But someday, if barring unforeseen circumstances, I would like to write a full, big book on elements because the more I started writing, the more I wanted to write.
Yeah. So what would you say to someone who says I only work with one element?
It's not true. It's impossible. If only because, our bodies have, I mean, I actually, I, this deck has the four Western elements. I really like the Chinese system where they include metal as an element also, because, your body has metals in it. It has water. It has, we breathe air. We can't live without air. We walk on the earth. We can't separate ourselves from the elements. We might prefer one to another. We might resonate more to one or the other, but it's impossible for us to disconnect from any of them.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. So let's talk about sacred places. I know you love to travel, you love to
I
I think
do.
you said you were a travel agent in an
I was a
airline.
travel consultant back in the day of many airlines and, not so many restrictions. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I only was on a plane once before everything changed, and I think about that when I watch old shows and they meet each other at the gate, and I'm like, oh, it's not even close to that simple anymore. But
My
tell
entire family used to come and, like, meet me at the
Oh,
gate when I came back.
yeah, I remember as a kid going with my dad to like it was always
Yeah.
JFK to pick up family visiting
Yeah.
from Greece, and we'd
Yeah.
go all the way through.
Exactly.
Yeah. Join me this Halloween at my festival, Samhainfest, October 31st and November 1st in Havre de Grace, Maryland. Hear from keynote speaker Laura Tempest Zakharov, shop handcrafted treasures, connect with your ancestors in a powerful Samhain ritual led by Mike Coven, and enjoy witchy covers from queer cryptid rock band Field of Embers on Saturday night. Explore honoring queer ancestors with Enfys J. Book. Decolonize death with Reverend Ron Padron. Learn about ancestral tattooing with Jake Morningstar. Learn about poison path magic with Datura with Kobe Michael. And honor the dead with Judy Ann Knock. I will be speaking on working with Artemis and Ekati as guides of life and death, and all of us will be available for book signings. Get your tickets at samhainfest.com.
Well,
So, what
I
are
guess
some of your favorite places you've been or sacred places that you've found?
I think, the older I get, the more I think that place and time are the unspoken and really significant intrinsic elements of any kind of a spell, of any kind of actions. I guess, to quote, what we were just talking about before, I guess I would be a water priestess. I love the beach. I love living water, waterfalls, lakes. I love being by the water. When I was a travel consultant, I my specialty was the Caribbean, and I love the Caribbean so much that I've spent a lot of time there, and it's just um, really just an incredible part of the world in on so many levels. The water and the earth and just the people are so lovely. And so that would be a sacred place to me. Morocco. I
Mm.
love being in Morocco. I love Moroccan food. And also just I think the most beautiful beach I've ever seen in my life was outside Tangier. It's just this all this white sand. It's just with nobody on it. It's just gorgeous. It looked like a travel poster. Um,
Yeah. Yeah, white sand beaches always blow my mind. I think sand in general, like what you were
yeah,
saying about time is, of course, time and sand, we think of an hourglass but when I think of sand, I think of just, I mean, it's rocks and they've existed so long that
right.
they've transmuted fully
It's
into something
cobble
else.
rock, and sometimes it's volcanic, so you have that fire element in there also.
Right. Yeah.
So even though you're not seeing the fire, the essence of fire is there. Speaking of I mean, I love a lot of places. I'm not a one place person. I love Hawaii. Speaking of volcanoes, the Kilauea, the volcano there, which is the home of Madame Pele, the volcano goddess, and she's that is a very, very profound place.
Hawaii, I've not been, but it calls me as well. And maybe it is really calling me now because you're the second person today to talk to me about Hawaii, which is really interesting. Um, and it calls me, I think, because of the way it's formed. It's a hot
Mm,
spot. And I think there's only, I would need to verify this, but I think there's only one other hot spot active on the planet right now. And for those who don't know, it's like the way geography works. Those islands, if you look at them on a map, they're in a chain. And it's because as the tectonic plates move, this
right.
hot spot moves with it. So Madame Pele is literally moving
Yeah.
along.
And I think there's like a new island forming. So it's very much like living land. Like it's appearing before our eyes.
Yeah. And then on the other side of that, we sometimes have these very old, dormant rocks that, well,
Right.
I can't say they don't move because the rocks I was about to talk about are on a volcanic or on a earthquake fault line. So they do have a lot of earthquakes. So there is movement happening. But Malta, the way that the ancient
Yes.
people of Malta
Yeah.
created their hypogeum was by
Yeah.
listening to the rock. And it took four
Yeah.
generations, between 4 and 22 generations, they believe, to build this 4-story underground
Right.
place because they had to
No, I mean
listen.
it's incredible. And Malta's neighboring island, Gozo, there's also the Calypso's island from the Odyssey.
Is
Yeah,
that what you think?
there's a she's associated with that area. I was there many years ago, and I wasn't prepared. I didn't read up on this, but yes, I do recall that's
Oh,
also just very, very profound places.
yeah.
And, I think, I mean, this is just me. I think we all kind of vibrate with the energy of, where did we emerge onto this planet? I mean, for me, it's New York City, and I think we vibrate with that energy. So I would be remiss. I mean, I think they didn't treat it like a sacred place, but the land where the World Trade Center was. That to me, I mean, if they had asked me, I wouldn't have put another building up there. I would have set a park and a memorial. Um, but
Hallowed
that,
ground.
yeah, yeah, that's a very sacred place. Oh, I could keep going. There's another theory. Have you heard this? See, you shouldn't have started me on this. I could talk on this for days.
Oh, we
Um,
got time.
there is a theory that it isn't just where you were born that impacts you, it's the closest large body of water. So are you born by the Atlantic, the Mediterranean, the Pacific? I mean, in my case, the Atlantic and also the Hudson River, which is a huge river. So I find that very fascinating. The impact of water on
Hmm.
ourselves, our destinies, our personalities.
Yeah. Yeah, it makes sense because we in the womb are in water. And
Right.
I often will tell people that, like think a little more about where your water comes from. I think it's like the first exercise in Sacred Wild is maybe second, is to look up your water source. What's your watershed? What's the river? Where are the nearest tributaries or creeks? Visit them. Have some of that water on your altar if you can, but know that even when you turn on the tap, that is local water sourced, even if it's been filtered and it's still from that
Yes.
vein of living. It's the lifeblood of our planet, of our mother.
Right. Right. And we can't exist without it.
Yeah, we're like 70 plus percent. Yeah.
And I mean, it's people can go without food for quite a bit, but they can't go out with it. But you cannot go without water, without liquids.
Yeah. Yeah.
You can't survive.
And I think it's interesting, I think a lot of traditional witchcraft paths do that where mine included, the eclectic fairy tradition. We have our initiates in their first degree go through each element. And now on the other side of it, as the high priestess in our coven, it's been really eye-opening how many angles each person can have for what each element can show us and do. And three of our coven members actually went to Santorini and Crete together, and they hiked the caldera of Santorini, and then they also went and did the gorge at Crete, which was formed by an earthquake. But it has a river at the bottom. So there was this like deep kind of conversation that we've been having. So when you brought up the lava that can be in some sand and things like that.
Right.
It really is amazing how the elements create a sacred landscape for us.
And how they're present in those landscapes. I mean, when you go to Hawaii, if you go to Kilauea, the fire is just so present. And then you have the water nearby, and Pele's rival is, the goddess Poliahu, was on a snow-covered peak. So, you have the water, and it's a dormant volcano, the water and the fire and the earth, and it's just, and of course, air is everywhere.
Yeah, so powerful. So, so powerful. Is there any sacred place you haven't been to yet that you're very excited to get to?
Oh, 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 so many. I mean, I've never been to East Asia. I would love to go to China and Japan and Thailand and, Cambodia, Vietnam. So, I mean, I mean, that's a lot of places. But
Yeah.
um, yeah, I mean, in a different life, I'd be just one of those, back in the days of the jet setters, just flying everywhere. It's
Yeah.
not fun anymore, though, I have to tell you. I used to love to fly. It's not fun anymore. Everything is stressful.
Yeah.
Everything is hard.
Oh,
Everything is stressful. It used to be so much fun. You'd get on a plane. I mean, you barely had to show ID at that time. I used to, back in the day, I could handwrite a ticket for Minnie Mouse. If you wanted to fly as Minnie Mouse, you could, domestically.
yeah.
As long as you didn't have to show a passport, if you didn't have to go internationally.
Wow.
Absolutely, you could. At one time when I was a travel consultant, I wanted to visit every Caribbean island. And I have not done that. I've been to many, but not all of them. I don't know if that's even feasible or possible, but it was a dream.
Yeah, yeah. Well, you can go check the rest of them off. Imagine you're journaling beside your private pool as you watch the sunrise over the Evian Gulf, surrounded by the stillness of rural, untouched Greece. Your 2027 journey to Greece is now open for booking. Choose the experience calling to you. At Intuition Activation, you will awaken your intuitive gifts at Delphi and within the sacred Kyrikian cave, the birthplace of the Pythia. During sacred waters, you'll visit the island of Evia to bathe in natural hot springs along cliff sides, journey to a Minoan cemetery on a liminal island, and board a private boat in search of Mediterranean monk seals among volcanic islands. This is the world's most ancient seal species, as mentioned in the Odyssey. And we also visit oracles and temples at ancient river sources. And this year, there is a brand new immersive Dream Oracles, where you'll explore the magic of dreams, the healing that comes in prophecy, and the astral itself at forgotten oracle sites. In fact, you will be the first priestesses to perform ritual here in millennia. Each retreat is limited to only 5 people, giving you space for personal guidance, meaningful ritual, and genuine connection. That means only 20 people will journey to Greece with me in 2027. Reach out and let's get you started on your journey to Greece. Visit ElyseWelles.com/visit Greece. When we talk about sacred places, I think what we're usually talking about or trying to understand is how 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 is it sacred? Is it sacred because humans have engaged with that land in a certain way, or is it something inherent in the land? What are your thoughts on that?
I think all of the above. I think sometimes things are sacred, places are sacred because of human history or effort or because something happened there. But I also think that it's in the land itself and that shrines are placed because of the power of the land. It's not that the shrine made it powerful, but it's like archaeology where you have layers on top of layers on top of layers. So you have the original reason, which may be so far back in time, so prehistoric, that we have no idea. I mean, I talk about this a lot in my classes. When people think something is old now, I read this something yesterday, which really shocked me that apparently a lot of people out there have never seen a Jimmy Stewart movie. Um, and that it's like that's not that long ago. And people think, oh, 100 years is a long time, or 1,000 years, or 2,000 years. But human existence goes back tens of thousands of years. The Venus of Willendorf, that's a 30,000-year-old statuette. A human carved that. So, and we don't know necessarily who they were. And all of us, if you are alive now, we're all living miracles. If we are alive now, it means every one of your ancestors, your direct ancestors, lived long enough, your mothers lived long enough to give birth to you, and somebody took care of you because human babies are so helpless.
Yeah.
And that is going back thousands and thousands and thousands of years. Like your ancestors don't, people will tell me something like, oh, yes, I'm 100% Italian. But our ancestry goes back before any of this. Any ethnic group here now, we go back before there was a consciousness of that people as a people. We don't even know 30,000 years ago, who were we? Who were our parents? I think that they do impact us. And I say that just, I have been places that really impacted me. And then I found out later that I had very ancient ancestry from there. And I've seen that with other people also. So the land recognizes us.
Yeah.
I mean, not to get very, very esoteric,
Oh, let's go there.
but,
Yeah. And
but
I
I mean, I
think
know this to be true.
exactly. And I think too, like we can extrapolate that. Look at astrology. We're talking about
Right,
planets miles, light years away,
right.
affecting our day as we go to work and school and whatever. So I think it makes even more sense in that understanding. Astrology is so undeniably helpful. How can it not be understood that something as simple as, 2000 years ago, like when I take people around Greece, I always say, this is from 400 BC, that is 22 Americas ago.
Right.
Like to give it that perspective. It's like, oh, wow.
In my book, I have a book called Daily Magic, which is a perpetual calendar. The Western calendar. It's not a wheel of the year. It's January 1st to December 31st, because every day is a magical day. And one of the things I discuss in there are these monuments that are thousands of years old that were created to interact with a solstice or an equinox or some sort of celestial phenomenon. And our ancestors, so I don't think we could necessarily design something, although there's Manhattan Henge every year now in New York, which is so interesting. The sun has shines through on a certain date, it shines through a certain street. So you have that phenomenon.
Oh,
But,
wow.
in Egypt, I mean, all over the world, pretty much in every continent, there are monuments like this. They knew what they were doing and they had that mathematical knowledge, that architectural knowledge. We have cartoons, Fred Flintstone. It looks like, oh, they're primitive, but they weren't. They were, I think in some ways maybe more sophisticated than we are now. I think we've lost so much. They had skills and they had knowledge, and it's just really breathtaking.
Yeah, that myth of linear progress. The
Right,
myth of linear anything.
right, right, exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, like for me, I'm focused mostly now. It didn't start this way, but the more I work with land, especially in Greece at these oracle sites, the more they ask of me to essentially be focusing on the Mycenaeans, the Minoans, the
Mm,
pre-patriarchal Greece. Because by the time we hit Hellenistic age Greece, classical era Greece with Homer is the beginning of that, and then 400 years later we have Alexander the Great, and by that point we're in patriarchy, and Rome takes that even further. And the priestess culture at that time, and as it gets into Rome, it gets worse, becomes pay to play, it becomes hubristic, arrogant, and can be very,
which the Greeks warned us against.
yeah, that's the irony, isn't it? They seemed to know. So it's for me now, it's all about the Bronze Age. 1300
I always want to
BC.
dig.
Bad.
You always want to dig. You want to, but I mean, I think especially since I mean, it's been many years since I started doing my own genealogy. You want to dig. Can we go another generation? Can we get a little bit deeper? What can we learn? As opposed to, how many history books of, America, they start in 1492. Or, when the pilgrims arrived. It's like you pick a point and as if nothing started, nothing was happening before that. I mean, it could be England 1066, the Battle of Hastings. People pick a moment. Um, we're going to start here. And in a book, you do have to start someplace. I mean, a book has a finite number of pages, and we're no longer publishing things like 20-volume histories. So you do have to start somewhere, but it's an illusion because it wasn't a new world for the people who were living here. 1491, 1490, 1479, something was going on here. It,
Yeah.
it wasn't just like a vacuum waiting for, the conquistadors to arrive. So, um, uh, and I mean, I think wherever you pick, whatever point you pick, you have to have that awareness. It's, I mean, constantly now they're constantly having these studies that show that everything is older than we think.
Yeah.
It's really interesting.
Hmm. Yeah. I think one of the I hope this is, I've been racking my brain. My husband is in the tech world and he he used to work for an AI company. He actually works for me full time now because he literally couldn't find a non-illicit company to work for. Um,
That's
but there was like literally it's all gambling or it's like environmental impact. He's like, I don't know what to do. The only he was working overseas for a company that was, a little more ethical, um but anyway, he's always saying like it will eventually even out and things will be useful. Think of the useful applications. And one useful, I hope useful application that we could use with AI is translating some Mycenaean tablets
oh,
because we haven't done that yet. We only know
right.
a few of the characters, and it was hieroglyphic. So I think we could figure it out with context
Oh, wouldn't
clues,
that be interesting?
because then we would know so much more. So much
Sure.
more. Because right now we have archaeology and art. Yeah, we're always digging as a human species. I love doing it. Spiritually excavating.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I mean, that's what I feel for my books. A lot of what I do research, it's spiritual archaeology. It's digging.
Yeah. Thank you for writing them, and thank you for creating this lovely little oracle deck. I've been enjoying working with it a lot,
Have
and
you? Oh, I'm glad.
yeah, I got home and it was waiting for me. So I unwrapped it, and today I drew the emerald, which was Earth, which I thought was a very good sign for
Yes,
my day ahead.
yes. I love emeralds.
Me too. I'm a
I,
caricature of a Taurus, like genuinely. Like,
yeah, there's nothing. I mean, I had a lot of fun creating this deck. Um, I did not create the art. I wrote the book, but I picked all the cards. Each card has one symbol on it. So
I'll
there's an
show a few
emerald, there's a
here.
ruby, there's a crossroads. Um, yeah, I am a water priestess.
I love this is the card I just drew
I
as
love.
you were talking, so I feel like that was for you.
Thank you.
Just showing it for the audience because this goes on YouTube too, so they can take a look.
There's nothing. I think everything. One of the things, this deck was created with a lot of love, and I really love all the symbols. And I've been working with the deck for a while myself now. But that's the thing, you create something, but then you work with it afterwards. So those are the balancing cards. So yeah, I mean, I think of them as gifts. Like I have been incorporating them to, I'm a tarot card reader primarily, but I've been incorporating them in that the Magical Spells Oracle into my reading. I give people a gift at the end, like, what does the universe want you to have? So, emeralds or mermaids, or there's really nothing negative in there. I mean, there are snakes, but I love snakes. I'm wearing a snake ring now. I almost always have some snake jewelry. So, it's the positive aspects
Yeah.
of
Yep.
these things.
Fertility and abundance and
Yeah, knowledge, wisdom.
well, thank you for being here. It was wonderful, wonderful, wonderful to have you on the show.
Thank you,
And
Elyse.
yeah, I look forward to
That was
hopefully
fun.
lots of people enjoy getting this deck, but I'm also looking forward to any of your future projects too.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for seeking Numina with me today. Join me at patreon.com/Elyse Welles to support this show and get access to a library of rituals, exclusive videos, meditations, and more. To learn more about my upcoming retreats, book a tarot reading, or learn with me in workshops, classes, or mentorship, visit seekingnumina.com.